Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What Does It Mean to Be Human, podcast on life, meaning and everything. And as always, I'm Ron Saylor, joined with my good mate Ben Gare, here to talk. Hey mate, how are
you? Yeah, good, thanks mate.
So we're here to talk about all things about life and what it means to be human. And today we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about creativity today and, self-love, and how those two work hand in hand in manifesting, creating what we love in our lives and what we can create in our lives. And just off air earlier, Ben, you were sharing a story about a client of yours who was that you've been working with in these two areas. Did you want to kind of open up the discussion today and share something around that?
Yeah, it's just a client just called me on the spur this morning, and someone I've been working with for a couple of years now in reality. So I've seen a lot of the growth and development that's happened in her world, and it's really great to see the goals that she's kicking now, and that's what's inspiring about supporting people into their own journey and getting over the blocks and hurdles that maybe have been in the way from them achieving the things they want to in life and stuff like that, which is kind of my bent on where I come with my programs and stuff like that. And yeah, she's an artist, a musician and stuff like that. So doing the inner work and letting go of the emotions that were, she was doing this before I met her, so it's not like she's let go into this as a new thing, but she's definitely, by letting go of the old emotions that held her back, has made her approach new situations or step outside the comfort zone of where she was, and is opening new doorways to what can be and what it is she really, really wants, which is just awesome to see, and her post this morning was very much about how it was self-love that got her to seek help in the first place. That was what sparked the desire to start working with me and stuff like that. But yeah, how the more she developed the confidence in self, the trust in self, just the love for her own experience and her own expression started to affect her work and her ability to express herself and share her talent, which she's got a fair bit of. So it's just one of those topics that just sort of popped up just before jumping on now. So it's a good one to sort of explore how some of the side effects of personal development can have, good side effects in what it opens up in your world. So how do you experience that one?
Look, even before I go to how I experience it, I kind of want to delve more into what you're sharing. So like you're sharing how this client's been working with you for a while and she's not new to this sort of work. However, in the time frame that she's been working with you, she's been able to be more aware about herself and how she loves herself, and in that ability to how much she can create. And for me, like I shared earlier, a lot off air, we were having a chat beforehand, and to me, self-love and creativity fall hand in hand. And you can also create and not love yourself, just so I want to mention that. So that's a fairly clear point that, creativity occurs on so many different levels. It's not always through love. Creativity can occur through negative visions or not loving yourself, right? But the power is always there to create. And what makes us creative warriors is when we really tap into our heart and look into loving ourselves and what we love to create. So what I'm interested in is
just quick in there, just slight definition that she was a musician before she started working with me, is what I was saying. So as I say, was a creative person already, but wasn't coming from the same space of self-love.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Okay.
and that's not what I was alluding to. The
Okay.
question I'm asking, like, if you can share with all our listeners, is some of the processes that you took her through, because clearly she's creative, she's a musician, right? So, you know, that was happening before she came to work with you. Some working with you for some time now, and you've been able to take her through the process in order for her to go deeper into that. Just share some stuff around that, Ben, like, you know, some of the processes that you took her through, so where you could see a distinct change from what were some of her resistances, right? Like, she's creative. Was there a resistance to her, like, pushing through something that she wasn't achieving what she wanted, like she wanted to play in front of a audience, or, you know, was she, like, what sort of musician was she? What was her goal? If you can just share some of the stuff that you took her through in the process to get her to that point, so where she could go, where she rang you today and said, man, you know what? Wow, look, listen to all this.
Yeah. I'm just slightly hesitant. I haven't checked in with her about sharing, so I kind of want to keep the boundaries of what I can share here with some of what you just asked me. So yeah, I mean,
as in a simple, without going into personal details.
Yeah, but that's why I need to think about my language and how that looks. So I can't specifically answer a few of the things you just asked me there, but yeah.
Just focus on the process that you may have taken her through, right? It's a simple process without going into details. Like, what are some of the things you implemented with her to get her more in tune to her heart, to get her to love herself, for her to see that it's already there, as opposed to like her own personal journey? Like, we don't want to go, obviously, respect the boundaries and confidentiality that you have with your client, but how about you share, like, part of the process that you use in getting people connected to themselves in order to create?
Yeah. I'm very much into sort of shadow work, shamanic work, sort of core beliefs and emotions, and how to identify and clear out those sort of beliefs that we've had. And we've sort of maybe touched on those, what core beliefs look like over the last however long we've been doing this, sort of like the concept of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve, or something like that is what we would call in our definition a core belief. So yeah, it's taking people out of the conscious mind and into the subconscious, and starting to find in them where they've created a belief that's like, well, I can't do X because blah, you know. So by taking people into that process, and then we can find where that thought began, because obviously that's not an inherent part of who you are. It's something you've taken on as due to experience. Like, it's like I was abandoned by dad when I was born, so therefore I believe X, Y, Z, and it starts to now inform how you interact in certain situations, or again, pursuing a career or your own thing, or whatever that looks like, you know. So yeah, it's just been, I mean, I have sort of a 3-month program where I take people through what I call the building blocks of emotions, and where they start to begin. So as we break those down, that's what I sort of take people through in that initial process. And now it's just kind of, she knows, she just gives me a call whenever stuff is really at the surface, and wants to start moving past those. So that's kind of what I do for work. And yeah, I'm just trying to think about what I can share in terms of where she's gone at it. But
and how do you
just,
sorry, mate, I was just going to ask you, like, how do you take them into a creative process? So part of the work that you've been doing with her, again, without going into too many personal details, she's obviously quite aware of where she's at, and she can tune into when, like, there's a resistance or maybe a belief coming up around something that she needs to do some work. So let's say we're at that point. What sort of like, how do you get it to tap into creativity? So play some music, listen to some music, sing a song. What are some of the things that you, with her specifically, that you would use to tap her into her creativity? Further where she is.
Yeah, not really what I've done. That's kind of not really my work. So it was under the awareness. I mean, beyond giving, maybe like make sure you do X every day, like whatever your thing is, or make sure you give half an hour to sitting down and writing lyrics for a song or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm not kind of in the advisory role of do X, Y, Z, because it's their discipline and they should hopefully know. So to me, it was just, what are the things behind you not wanting to do that? Or where's the resistance to practicing every day, or getting more disciplined, more focused in approaching people or venues or booking things or stuff like that, so I'm much more about the thought process, because I mean, creativity looks different for everybody. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that. I think we think creativity looks like, a lot of people do anyway, it's like a painter or a musician or something like that, but they can just as easily be a business person or a chef or, an engineer. To me, creativity is just a way of seeing the world, because you can attach creative thinking to whatever it is your gift, and whatever it is your passion, and whatever drives you to want to have your own flavor of something, or something like that. So yeah, I don't specifically get into the creativity on that level. I kind of get into, well, what if we took away the hurdles between where you're at now and where you want to be?
Yeah, and that's perfect, right? And that's like, I do the same thing. And I love what you just shared about creativity, right? And it's true. There is creativity, to me, is like the unlimited, untapped source of within it's like, it's, you're connected to your higher self, you're connected to your creative spirit. There's like, to me, it's just like a ball of light. And this is my truth. It's just a ball of light connected to the source. And there's nothing can stop that other than my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my beliefs, my mindsets. All my dysfunctions will get in the way. But as a creative source, we all have that power within us to create anything we want, really. And when you can tap into your heart and tune into your heart, for me, what I've learned is there's no greater bridge between the heart to my creative source. And in that space, I can create anything and be anything I want. And my question is, like, what action steps did you have to do here to be creative? I guess for me, part of the process is definitely you will need to address what's the resistance, right? What's stopping you from writing your book, for example? You want to write a book on whatever. Let's say you want to write a book on being a creative warrior. Okay, I'll take myself as an example. What stops me from writing that book? What resistance comes up? What emotions come up? What beliefs about myself come up? I've never written a book in my life. Who am I to think I can write a book? How many of these books have been written? Is my book going to be any better or any different to all the books out there? All this like chatter in the background. But the initial thought in my heart was, wow, it'd be awesome to write a book. To me, that's a creative process right there. But as soon as all my stuff comes, like all the logic and reason and why I shouldn't write a book, and all my beliefs about myself, how I can't write a book, what have I done? I've just killed that part of that creative part of me that wants to come up and surface. So that's me looking at the resistance. And then it's okay, well, what are some of the steps to stay in that creativity? Well, for me, maybe like, you know what, every day, Ron, just write 100 words about
Yeah.
the book.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about what the book is about, but just channel, right? And whether to me, it's generating momentum. And when we're generating momentum, we're generating more energy, more power. And let me backtrack to saying that you need a clear intent. So I have a strong intention to write a book for the benefit of mankind. That's my intention. Now that's a great intention. But if I get that idea to write 100 words every day, and then but all this reason, logic, beliefs, all this stuff comes up on top and says, no, you got other things to do. What am I doing with that momentum? I'm just crushing it. So, and I guess this is the importance of having some coaching right around, or having someone that can support you and guide you without telling you, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're kind of sharing is it's the guidance that you're offering. It's the information that you're offering. It's like you're giving them different perspectives of what can be and what's possible and what are the limitations and how do you do to get around that? How do you do to push that? And where's your will? Where's your focus? Where's your discipline? You know, where's the fun? Like, are you having fun in all of this as well? Because I think that's quite important in the creative process, is to have fun. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it kind of what's coming up there. I mean, if it's an issue of like upskilling, then obviously it's like, well, I need to go learn the skill I want to do to fulfill whatever it is my task is that I thought I wanted to. Like, if you want to become a musician and you've never picked up an instrument before, obviously there's the practical part of, well, I need to go learn the thing. So that's why I said, like, I come more from the angle of, okay, you're competent at least in where your skill set's at, and maybe you've at least developed some of the the necessary parts to be able to implement. In my work, as I say, I really knuckle down to the nitty-gritty details of how does that look, how does the vision come about, and I think we talked about like Dr. Joe Dispenza, what is it? Something of being self. Anyway, he's very much sort of, big on the vision. How does it make you feel? How does it if you were to find yourself in that place where you'd achieved your dream, what's your outlook? How does the thing look? And so there is definitely a big component of nailing down that vision, like you just talked about, getting clear on what the intention is. And then, look, the process that I do, it's kind of like checking in and seeing, well, so when you did X, when you followed up with X, Y, Z, how did it make you feel? And then what emotions came with it? And it's just like, if you skipped a day, what was the resistance about? Why did it come up? How do we change the belief system? What other things we need to implement so that that's no longer the case, and stuff like that. And that's all a learning process. And again, if we go back to sort of neuroscience and the firing of how wires together fires together, and creating a new system is always going to have a challenge, have some sorts of challenge. It's how we choose to deal with that in a new perspective is what creates the change, as opposed to making excuses for why it wasn't going to be happening today. They're the things that sort of I like getting into the nitty gritty with people about. Why not?
Yeah, and I just want to add to that, this process that you use, Ben, I use a similar process myself. It's to tap into anything. Like, I just want to be clear, it's just the creative process. The creative process is just you living your life to your fullest potential, connected to your heart, connected to yourself, others in the world, and to your higher self. To me, that's the creative process. And that can be anything you want to achieve, from buying a car, finding a job, writing a book, music, setting up retreats, whatever your thing is, right? Whatever thing that you love. And for me, the most simplest way that I can put it for myself is this, that love is the bridge to my creativity. So we kind of come back to that full circle about having that self-love and that ability to create. And that's in most simplest form to me. Take away everything that we talk about your beliefs and your patterns and your strategies and all this sort of stuff, the mindsets and the dysfunctions and your wounding and your trauma and your childhood and all the story that we've made up about ourselves, right? Take all that out of the way, and what's left, to me in its purest form, is there's your heart, and your heart is the bridge to create all that you want. Because to me, in our hearts is our light, and that's where we sit grounded into the earth, into ourselves. And from that space, we can hear everything we need to from our guides. You know, we are just energetic, intuitive beings. You know, some of us are more in tune than others. Some of us are completely out of tune, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. Everyone's just where they are, and that's just wherever you are is wherever you're meant to be. Timing plays a role. You know, sometimes we're not ready to hear the information. Sometimes we're not ready to receive. Sometimes we still have to keep churning through that hamster wheel until we go, fuck, you know what? This is enough. What's going to make things change? And then we start to ask questions. We get curious, right? We go through the process. And that's all part about living life. And that's part of the creative process, right? Creativity is all about the emotions that you have. And it's like choosing, like you were saying, Ben, when we do the vision, what's the emotion around it? How do you feel? How does it make you feel? And you must, fuck, I feel happy. I feel on top of the world. Okay, good. Sit with that. You know, sink that into your body. So when you know, when you're not in that feeling and you're in your current reality, then you go, oh, which emotion do I like? Do I like this one? It's a bit sticky. I kind of like keep making up excuses. I don't feel too good. Or this one where I'm doing it, I feel awesome. Which one do you love? Which one do you want to be? And that's, to me, that's the creative process. It's always an ebb and flow, right? It's like we're going to go through elements where we're like, you know, we're just like on top of the world. Everything's clicking. You feel awesome, right? And then you wake up the next day, you don't feel so awesome. And this is part of the process for me, is to say, you know what? It's okay. Because you're not going to feel awesome all the time. Let's just be honest. You can't feel awesome all the time. You can feel awesome most of the time, but there are times when we're going to have to just acknowledge, you know what? This shit's coming up for me. And that's okay, because it's part of my creative process. Because essentially, what is it? Okay, I'm aware that it's a resistance to something. Okay, let me look into this resistance. How does it make me feel emotionally? Okay, what am I doing? Okay, it's there. Just acknowledge it. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, get back. It's all part of that creative process. And I think love is such a fundamental emotion because it kind of connects us to everything, I feel. So, yeah, the point of that story, like that long rant, was really that love is for me, love is the fundamental emotion that opens me up into my heart, and then it allows me to create on a level that has nothing to do with thinking. You know, there's no thought process in the creative process. It's just organic. It's intuitive. It's you just know, and it's that knowing that gives you the power, and that's what you want to hold on to, that feeling, and just let that drive you and generate the momentum and take the action. Learn a new skill, upskill if you have to. Focus on what you're doing, but generate the momentum daily if you can. If you have resistance, go into it and go, why am I resisting? And go, this is coming up for me. Okay, cool. Let me work on that. Let me keep going. Never, and it's, you know, it's easy for me to sit here and say, don't beat yourself up. We all do it. We all do it, right? But the thing is, do it and then just go, it's all right. You know, you beat yourself up most of the time anyway, so just give yourself a break.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of what's just there, it's like, I think we need more empowered individuals in the world that are following their passion and their heart and what it is they love to do in the world, because I think we've got too many people just doing what they're supposed to because it's either what they believe they should, or due to the family and stuff, they're pressured into doing X, Y, Z, whatever it is, you know. And that's why sort of a lot of my stuff is geared around how do we get you into the thing that you really want to do? Because to me, if you're doing that, it's just a path to success. Because if you bring all your heart, all your passion, all your interest in whatever the subject is, it really doesn't matter what the subject is at all. It's by you showing up for that thing, and it doesn't matter whether you've got 100 loyal followers or 1 million passive ones, you know, it's being seen for your individual gift that you're here to share. You know, I think that inspires others, that sparks that desire for momentum and perpetual growth and stuff like that. And of course, along that way, along that sort of path, there's going to be all the resistances and the things and the stuff like that. It's like it less interests me that it's like, well, I'm going to do X, Y, Z because I know it's financially good for me. You know, that job pays well, or that thing it makes money, and blah, blah, blah. That's not really what, because if there's not the passion behind the love or the passion behind the thought process of why you even want to do that in the first place, you may get short-term success or wealth or growth in that area. But to me, is it a fulfilling outcome? Is it a fulfilling goal? How have you grown for the process and stuff like that? So yeah, much more in terms of the self-love side, I'm much more interested in pursue the bits that you love, because I think when you show up with that passion and that drive and that want to just give your gift to the world, whatever that looks like, I think the reward is always abundance. And abundance looks very different again to different people. It could be just a deeper relationship. It could be money. It could be all kinds of other things, you know, success in the thing that you do. So that's where I kind of see the collapse of self-love and creativity, that it's use the creative process to deepen self and your gift. So once you show up with the gift that it is that you're uniquely here to bring to the world, it's just going to be infectious. People are going to see it and they go, oh, that's cool. Or that inspires me, or I want some of that, you know. So yeah, that's how I sort of see that process.
Yeah, great share, mate. You know, the biggest thing I got out of what you just said was that we need more people in this world doing what they love, empowering themselves. And that's so important, because you know what? We've both, I know I have, I'll speak for myself, I've done things which, you know, I just do it because it just pays, you know, it's the bread and butter. I've done that in the past, you know. I'm fortunate to say I do what I love. I love what I do. You know, it's taken me a while to get to that point, but I love what I do, you know. I get to work with people, empowering them to live the life they love and to build foundations that support that growth. I love that. And it's true, the more warriors that we have that are doing what they love in this world, the more empowered we become, you know. And so no one can empower you like you can empower yourself. So that was an awesome share. One thing that comes to mind was, you know, a lot of the stuff, creativity, self-love, for me, a lot of it kind of rests in the moment too, right? When you're in the present, because when you're in the present, you're just here. You know, you're not caught up in what you did yesterday or what you did in the past or what you're trying to get to or achieve in the future. You know, you're just here doing what you need to do, and that's going to generate what you will achieve in the future. I think a lot of the times in this kind of world we live in, problem-solving world, we're always looking to how it didn't work in the past and how we can make it work in the future. And we kind of get lost on the present. So for me, my truth is important that, you know what, we stay in the present as much as we can, stay in the moment as much as we can, just stay with your breath as much as you can, really tune into where you are even when you get distracted, right? Whether there's stress or this external, someone's doing something or you're driving, always caught up in where we need to be or what we did. And for me, it's really coming true, really singing a song that, you know what? There's nothing like being in the present moment. And it's nothing new under the sun. I'm not saying anything that's been not said before, but it's quite a profound, fundamental learning. Sit in the present. And in that present, you can only tune into your higher self. And when you're tuning into your higher self, you're tuning into your intuition. And that intuition has all the information that you'd ever want to create the life you love.
Yeah, because it's when you know and trust and love yourself, when you're more in the moment, you're coming from that space of it. Is it something I'm obligated or I should do, or I'm coming from that would light me up, that would make me passionate, that would make me happy, that would make me love my process even more? And then you're coming from that sort of space. And again, the more people we have coming from that kind of space, imagine the kind of world we're going to have of unique, crazy individuals that we've got here. We've got so many gifts, individual gifts that are on the planet. That's like it'd be inspiring to see all of those play out, and less of the monochrome and more of the the light up of people. So I know you're on a time limit, mate, so any last thoughts you want to finish up there? Or
no, I think I kind of said my last words just before, and what you just said was great. Guys, any questions, feel free to write in. We're happy to answer any questions we can. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay connected, stay present, get creative, and let's love ourselves, eh?
Absolutely. All right, thanks, guys. And put comments down below, and reach out if you ever need any support. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, mate.
See you guys. Thanks, Benny.